Budget 2023 is just round the corner, and with that, it brings a plethora of expectations. This year, the expectations are more so because the tax collections have been robust, both on the direct and GST side, and this being the last of the full budget before the election in 2024. At a macro level, I hope the budget focuses on attracting global supply chains that are moving out of China, and it continues its focus on building capital expenditure. On the micro level, the expectations are broadly divided into 5 categories. The first is built around the lower taxes and higher deductions. So there is a case for an increase in standard deduction for salary class. Rupees 50,000 is too small an amount considering the inflation levels today. Then a clarity on expenditure incurred by employees while working from home is certainly required. Either that expenditure should be allowed as a deduction or it should not be added as a perquisite. An increase in the limit for health insurance is also called for. With the cost of healthcare going up, there is an urgent need to look at this. Last in this category is that the tax on dividend should be capped maybe at 15%. The reason is that the profits are already taxed, and for non-residents, the dividend is taxed at the rate of 20%. So why it should be 30% for residents? The second category is the simplification and rationalization. So here, parity in terms of computation of capital gain amongst various asset classes, as there are different thresholds for different assets and multiple rates of 10%, 15%, 20, 30, depending upon various factors. Government could look at enlarging the scheme for presumptive taxation. A clarity on taxation of families settlements will go a long way to reduce needless litigation. And a clarity on restructuring of limited liability partnerships, like in case of companies, there are separate sections to deal with merger and demerger. It would be helpful if this clarity is also there for LLPs. On the international tax front, what is expected is a roadmap for implementation of the Pillar 2 solution to the GLOBE rules and clarity on SCP as the existing law covers transactions beyond the digital platform, which was not the intent. Moving on GST, it has been 5 years and a complete overhaul of the law is required, both in terms of policy and application. If the taxpayer has to litigate to determine whether roti is to be taxed at a different rate than parantha, then there is something seriously wrong in the law. Though this would have to be moved through the GST Council, but a confirmation from the Honorable FM to this effect will be very, very heartening. Last, incentive for taxpayers. I think the government should seriously look at this aspect and some sort of a reward, a recognition mechanism for the taxpayer needs to be built in. Maybe it could be in the form of annuity scheme, whereby a certain small percentage, let's say 1% or 2% of the tax paid by every taxpayer is put aside, which would be given to him or her, let's say at the age of 60. There could be multiple ways to reward the taxpayer. I think it's time that the government seriously looks at this. Let's hope that unlike the Budget 2022, which unsettled the settled law in many aspects, the 2023 budget brings cheer to all. Thank you.